We have to talk. You may be aware, you probably heard by now, that vaping is super unhealthy and people are dying from it. Well, let's look into that, shall we? This is healthier for you than this. So, and what I find funny is people are actually now stopping and talking to me about my vaping and telling me that it's super unhealthy. And I'm biting my tongue because at the same time I want to say that waistline is unhealthy for you too. So, I love how our TV and our media and peers tell us what we're supposed to be outraged about. But let's talk about this for a sec. Vaping has been around now for a while. And back in about 2017, 2 years ago, I used to work with troubled youths, and I actually got praised by the kids that I worked with. And I mean, these kids were the kids that you did not want around other kids because they were bad kids. They were good kids, just dealt bad hands, really. And they noticed real quick when I stopped smoking, because they said I smelled better. And they were praising me for switching to vape. And then I figured out that nowadays the youth, and it's not just these kids, it was other kids too, kids that lived around me, no kid has a desire to smoke anymore. However, they do want to vape. So the smoking industry has taken a massive hit. Now, you don't need to get the stop smoking aids to get off cigarettes. You can buy a vape. So that's another industry taking a hit. Same industry. I also heard somewhere that the tobacco industry has lost 1.8 billion due to vaping. So, don't check my math if you want, because I am dyslexic. So, that right there should tell you exactly why vaping's dangerous. Also, I've noticed something. I don't get sick like I used to since I started vaping. Oh, I smell gas. God. Oh, what was wrong with that car? So I'm going to hate myself for 3 days. But I'm going to do something here. And the last time I smoked was because I saw my dad in a casket. Now, another thing I've noticed is when you're around smokers, you cannot quit. It is a subliminal crab bucket syndrome. Nobody's holding you back. They're all praising you while they're blowing smoke at you. And I got to the point, I had managed to quit in a community full of smokers, but I also locked myself in the house and vaped. And that's another thing. You can vape inside. People don't really, you see the cloud and right away, if you're a non-smoker, you panic. But here's the thing. It's gone. After 5 minutes, you can't tell that anybody has vaped. After 3 days, you can still tell that somebody has smoked. So, I'm gonna hate myself, but I'm gonna do this. Because if you remember when I started, my very first video is, hold on, I need a cigarette. It's hard. And I went to the pack. Oh my god. The last time I smoked, I saw my dad in a casket, and I needed to feel this, and this tastes like shit. When you make the change from vaping, from smoking, the first 3 days hurt. I have coughed myself to pee myself when I've quit smoking and switched to vape. Because what happens is, I don't even want to do this. I mean, it's hard. It stinks. God, it stinks. I'm not even, you can tell the way I'm dragging it too. When I switch from cigarettes to vape, when I get off the cigarettes, what happens is you cough, and you cough up hard chunks. Like, It's kind of like rubbery jello. And what that is the vape actually breaks up the crap in your lungs that should not be there. Now, popcorn lung I've heard of for years, which makes sense. And I believe that because I have inhaled popcorn seasoning and it hurts. And I'm sure, like, it's probably bad for you, but it's no... You can get the same crap from standing next to a campfire or working at a bus lot, walking behind buses. I mean, when it was cold, they had all the buses started, which was a huge luxury. But I couldn't breathe on that lot. I actually wore a mask when it got cold, and it was not only for how cold it was to try to filter out a lot of the fumes, which freaked people out because I was walking around in a ski mask. But you can see how slow I'm going. A smoker would be pelting this right now, and I'm having a hard time smoking. That's another thing. It's really hard to transition from vape to cigarettes. The vaping is a total KO to the tobacco industry, and that's why you're being programmed to be against it. Now, vaping probably has a lot of downsides that we're not seeing yet, and I've managed to quit vaping once, but I fell off that wagon when I ended up moving back in with my parents. So, you know, I've been dealt some really hard punches, but I know I can persevere. I also know it's not worth forcing myself to do something when there's other things I need to force myself to do. Now, let's talk about Juul. Juul is not vaping. What happens with Juul is it's set to be a cigarette with liquid in it. The nicotine level is quite literally multiple times what a cigarette is. I ended up with a Juul pack. It cost me about $50 during a blizzard because I had ran out of juice during this blizzard. The whole town shut down. I'm shaking. Like, you can see me shaking now. I don't know if you can or not, but I'm starting to twitch. I ended up buying Juul because I couldn't get out of town, of course, to go to the vape shop to get juice. And I was nicking really bad. I was jonesing. So I ended up getting Juul, and I tried it, and the first thing I tried to do was pull it like a vape, which it won't do. So after 3 attempts to pull this damn thing, I was sick. I was dizzy, I was twitching, I was miserable. And I got home, and my dad looks at me and goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm not okay." So I went and I laid down and slept for about 4 hours. Got up and I was still shaking. I'm like, I gotta go to the vape store. And I did. And I went to my local vape shop, and the guy gave me he just handed me a bottle. And he's like, "Do you need to go to the hospital? I can call 911. I'm like, no, I just need real vape juice. It's burning my nose. Like, now I'm about halfway down. I'm not forcing myself like I was, but I still, like, I'm trying to prove a point, but my mind and my body are both telling me to throw this shit out the window and grab my vape. Because I still have the nicotine in my system, and I am a slave to substance, and I do admit that. But I also know, I'm keeping these in my car. Actually, I'm going to keep these in my purse because it's probably going to take me 3 days. But I can smoke them while I'm out with the dog. I lost my train of thought. Put my lighter in there too. My mind and my body are telling me to throw this shit out the window and pick up my vape, because right away it'll clear this out of my body. It'll purge it. Now, I know I've talked a lot about benefits to vaping. There's downsides too, but the downsides are... Something that happened with my best friend, she said that her doctor recommended against vaping because you don't want to put water in your lungs. And I am so sorry about that glare, by the way. And I was like, you know, when you go to the doctor for an asthma attack, first thing they give you is an inhaler, which is basically vapor that you're pumping into your lungs, like forcing into your lungs, more so than you do with a vape. So if you stop breathing or you are congested, the first thing they do is they vaporize you, basically, with albuterol, with steroids. Even when my son had croak, they said cold, moist air. That's good for you. The moist air is actually good for you. So I would actually, I don't want to say this because somebody's going to get the wrong idea. I could see somewhere down the line medical vapes. I really could. Like, to break up pneumonia and crap. Which is funny because one of my friends got pneumonia and he wasn't vaping at the time, which allowed it to build up. And I think if he was vaping, the pneumonia wouldn't have happened. I really believe that, because what the vaping does is it breaks up the crap you shouldn't have in there. Probably puts more crap in, but it breaks up the crap that hurts. When I exhale, it's actually burning my nose. And my throat is starting to hurt. So... this hurts. And I picked this up when I saw my dad in a casket, because it was just, I needed this. I needed this pain. I needed this kind of, because sometimes, you know, you want a certain type of pain, and it's like, after I got those 3 packs, it was like, okay, I'm over it, sort of. But it was like, I gotta... Smoking's also dirty as hell. I just ashed all over myself. And that's another thing. My clothes have really held up since I stopped smoking, because I used to like ash myself all the time. There's still clothes that I refuse to throw away that have burns in them. Also, another thing, the vape, I'm shaking. I don't know if you can see it or not. My fingers are twitching. The kids that died on vape also had contaminated vape juice, which is something that happens when you make your own stuff, which, if you take care of your stuff, and now, like, the vape stores I used to go to, they used to mix their own in-house, and they had everything labeled. They would wear gloves. They really took pride in what they were doing, because they were all using this stuff. Now it's people in factories that don't care. And I've seen articles where people have run out of vape juice and gone, what can I vape? And like, people have tried vaping butter. So it's, you know, people doing stupid stuff and getting themselves hurt, and buying stuff that they shouldn't, and vaping stuff that they shouldn't. I mean, same thing with cars. I'm sure people have put stuff in their cars and blown up, but we don't outlaw cars. We regulate gasoline. It's excuse me. I mean, it's I'm almost done here. God, this is... Ugh. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I gotta spit. That is utterly nasty. Sorry, cars that saw me do that. I feel like shit. So anyway, thank you for watching me hate myself. I hope everybody has learned something. I know this has been a slightly longer video than usual. My voice has changed. Excuse me. Yeah. That's why vaping's bad. Because it cancels out that shit. Excuse my language. But, oh, God. My chest hurts. I will see you tomorrow later. Bye.
Special thanks to the people who support me on Patreon, like Zacchus.